guiding light through times of trouble, confusion, murkiness, tumult, chaos, and despair. El Rushball and the well, looky here. Look what was just been brought to my attention. Charles Krauthammer's column today. The case against Reelection. Krauthammer urges Romney to attack Obama's ideology, not just his poor record. All right, it is about time. There are two ways to run against Barack Obama: stewardship or ideology. You run against his record or you can run against his ideas. The stewardship case, pretty straightforward. The worst recovery in the country's history, 42 consecutive months of 8+% unemployment, declining economic growth, all achieved at a price of another $5 trillion of accumulated debt. The ideological case is also simple. Just play in toto, and therefore in context, Obama's Roanoke riff telling small businesses you didn't build that. You think you did well because you're smart, and you know that. Mitt Romney's preferred argument, however, is stewardship, but the ideological case, not just appealing to a center-right country with twice as many conservatives as liberals, it's also explanatory. Thank God somebody has joined my refrain here, folks. I can't tell you how excited this makes me. I did not know this. Krauthammer is on board with going after the ideology. Finally, somebody besides me. Oh, this makes my day. The ideological case, on the other hand, is not just appealing to a center-right country with twice as many conservatives as liberals. It's also explanatory. Yes! It underpins the stewardship argument. Obama's ideology explains the failure of this. Yes! Oh my, folks, I'm near orgasm time here. Do you know what it's like to be all alone on this stuff? No. I know you understand. I know you've agreed. Because how many years have I been talking about this? I've what? No, this, I don't, this, who's scared? Oh. Snurdly saying everybody's afraid to talk about his ideology. It was his ideology. It was his ideology that made me say I want him to fail. How else was I going to know what this was going to happen? How could I know? How did you know? Right? His ideology. He's a liberal. Liberalism means things. Words mean things. Ideas have consequences. Ideology. He's a liberal. This was not hard to figure out. So you're saying that people were simply afraid to say this? Well, okay, Snurdly's theory is that there's been a lot of fear to talk about Obama's ideology, because once you talk about his ideology, then you got to talk about where he got it. And that means you got to talk about Reverend Wright, I assume, and people don't want to do it. And Frank Marshall Davis, you got to talk about all the stuff that people didn't want to talk about Obama. And still don't want to. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, all there is to Obama is his ideology. The stewardship, i.e. the things he's done, is explained by his ideology. He's defined by it. He's defined by liberalism or Marxism, socialism, whatever you want to call it. See, to me, folks, this has been, don't misunderstand me on this. It's been simple. And, you know, I know it is for you, too. And you know what this cuts to? This actually, we can make a linkage, what I was talking about before the break at the bottom of the hour. Because I really have been thinking about the difference in the Democrat Party to Republican Party. Let's just look at it that way. And when Byron York asked me why everybody always surrounds Obama to protect him, they circle the wagons, and why don't the Republicans do it? It's because We're not unified. We don't have the same purpose. And this is an illustration of the divide. There are some Republicans who will simply refuse to look at Obama ideologically because maybe they're not conservatives themselves. They are rhinos or they're moderates or what have you. And you and I have discussed and profoundly deeply during the Republican primaries how even members of the Republican establishment don't like conservatives, that they associate conservatism with Goldwater's landslide defeat, not Reagan's landslide victories. Well, this is a Hosanna moment. Here's more Krauthammer. Second, radical reform of health care that would reduce its ruinously accelerating cost. Put simply, our health care problem is our deficit problem. Except that the CBO reports that Obamacare will cost $1.68 trillion of new spending in the first decade, to say nothing of the price of the uncertainty introduced by an impossibly complex remaking of 1/6 of the economy, which will discourage hiring and expansion as trillions of investable private sector dollars remain sidelined or appropriated. The third part of Obama's promised transformation was energy. His cap-and-trade federal takeover was rejected by his own Democrat Senate. So the war on fossil fuels has been conducted unilaterally by bureaucratic fiat regulations that will kill coal. No-brainer pipeline. Keystone rejected lest Canadian oil sands be burned. China will burn them instead. A drilling moratorium in the Gulf that a federal judge severely criticizes illegal. Now, that was the program, now so unpopular that Obama barely mentions it. Obamacare got exactly 2 lines in this year's State of the Union address. You seen any ads touting the stimulus, the drilling moratorium, Keystone? See, that's exactly right. Why doesn't... Let's take a look at that Romney killed my wife ad. If Obama was proud of Obamacare, that would have been what they said in that ad, not Romney killed my wife. They would have said Obamacare would have saved her life if he was proud of it. But he can't say Obamacare. He doesn't want to mention Obamacare because it's unpopular. He doesn't campaign on the Keystone Pipeline. He doesn't campaign on anything he's done. He's a sitting duck ideologically. He's a sitting duck. He is a landslide defeat waiting to happen if we would just unify and go at him ideologically. Now, Krauthammer points out here that the Romney campaign's decided they're going to go after he's a lousy president. He's a lousy steward. And Snerdley may have a point because it was Romney who said, I'm not going to call him a socialist. I'm going to call him just a nice guy who doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a nice guy, A, and B, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's an ideologue. He's a liberal Marxist. He knows exactly what he's doing. None of this is incompetent. None of it's an accident. It's all on purpose. If you understand liberalism. This is a Hosanna moment. I, El Rushbo, no longer feel stranded on an island. Now what's going to happen is, you know, the blogs will pick this up. Krauthammer thinks Krauthammer, and it'll spread. And maybe it'll get linkage, traction, whatever, and take off. I don't care. I think it's great that somebody has put 2 and 2 together here. But it's still going to boil down to, will Romney do it? Will Romney give up this notion, he's not really a bad guy. He's a nice guy. He just doesn't understand. He's incompetent. He's a socialist. I remember telling you back 2 summers ago, various potential Republican presidential candidates came knocking on the door. Kiss the ring kind of thing. And this before most had announced. It's before it really got ginned up. And I'm not going to mention any names because it won't matter. Virtually every one of them that I spoke to said, we got to go after Obama's policies, Rush. We can't go after him. We have to go after his policy. And that's what Romney's doing. We're going after his policies. As Krauthammer says, his stewardship. And because, you know, Snerdley, you're right. They were afraid and still are to go after Obama as what he really is. Afraid to make the allegation. And every day the Democrats get up and thank whoever is their God that we leave it alone. I guarantee you they do, because that's the one thing they're scared to death of. And I think it may explain why they're upset at Romney's welfare ad. Because it combines going after stewardship and also illustrates Obama's ideology. Because it's liberals who don't like the work component in welfare. And we are coming back.
You're